So I was today years old when I found out that one of my childhood favorite theme songs is not what I thought it was. So I've been walking around on this earth for 29 years singing Coco Power Rangers, and it's Go Go Power Rangers, and now I'm having a midlife crisis about it. So ooh, what update is this? It's 3. Update 3. Update 3 to pan those eyeshadows, and I'm so excited. Thank you all for just the love and support on this journey, because it is a journey and I'm enjoying it and I'm having a lot of fun. I feel like I'm doing a really good job, not just focusing on my pan that palette, but bringing in other shades, and other palettes are getting loved and used, and I'm coming up with different combinations of looks to do. So let's just get into it. You're not here to hear me ramble. Here is the color palette that we were working on. So this is the shade ICYMI, and it's from the ColourPop Sweet Talk palette. This is the shade Melody, which is also from the Sweet Talk palette. This is the shade Listen. It was from a little mini Pat McGrath Labs 6-pan palette. I think it was one of their holiday sets. I received it as a gift, so I don't really know where it comes from. And then this last shade, this really pretty yellow down here, is the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette, the shade Honey. So let's see, this month we used the shade ICYMI. We used it 3 times, so for a total of 12 times. The shade Melody, I used it 9 times for a total of 9 times. This shade got rolled in last time. And then the Pat McGrath Listen, we used it 2 times this past month, so it's a total of 7 times. And then for the Honey shade, I used it 9 times this past month, so for a total of 19 times. I've really been favoring this shade. It's just so pretty, and I'm really into yellows, and I think they look really nice with my brown eyes and stuff like that. So let's get into it. Let me show you what everything is looking like. So this is the first one, ICYMI. It's, in case you missed it, I can never know how to say that with just the first letters. Anyway, so again, we've used it 3 times this past month, so 12 times in total. And I think you can tell that there is a dip on it. I'm starting to appreciate this shade. I still don't like it in the sense of whatever look I pair it with, it ends up looking the exact opposite of what I wanted to. So I think I talked about this in the last one, but it looks like a red shade, but if I pair it with a gold or some other kind of color that I would wear a red shade with, it looks more pink. If I pair it with something I would wear a pink shade with, then it looks more red. So still just trying to figure it out. I did wear it a few times with the Honey shade, and I feel that looked pretty well, pretty good. It ended up coming off more red, so maybe I should just try to start pairing it with more yellows and see how it goes from there. But yeah, let's just get to the next one. So we'll talk about the shade Melody next. Now again, we used it 9 times for 9 times in total. It got rolled in last month, and you can tell there's already a dip forming on it. So this is a shimmer, shadow, as you can tell there. And generally I would apply shadows like that with my finger. Sorry, my hair is all kinds of in my face. I would apply a shimmer shade with my finger. But with this shade, when I use my finger to apply it, it doesn't give me the impact that I want. So I'm actually using a flat shader brush with it. So I think that's why after 9 times there's already such a dip in it, because if you're using a brush on shadows, the pan's gonna get there faster than if you're just using your finger. And then here is the Listen shade from the Pat McGrath Labs. Sorry, I almost hit the camera with it. So again, we used it 2 times this past month, so that makes for 7 in total. And again, this one, it's right here. To me, it always looks in the pan like a rose gold kind of shade, but then it's more purple, and I have it on today, but I didn't really like the way the look was turning out. I used it with Orchid and Wisteria from my Lorac Mega Pro palette, and then I was like, this is not what I wanted. So I like topped off some glitter from the Tati palette on top of it, and like that saved the day. Glitter always saves the day. But anyway, two, with this one, I don't like it like when I apply it with my fingers. It like crumbles off and makes like a lot of fallout. Sorry, my nose is running, like I have allergies really bad. But it makes a lot of fallout if I use my fingers. So I've switched to using a brush with this, and then, you know, I'll just like give it a little tap, and that tends to get, like, there's not as much fallout if I use a brush with it. So there's that. And then we will talk about the shade Honey from the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. And I have to show it to you upside down. But look at that. Oh my goodness. We have pan. I am so excited. So used this shade in total 19 times in the, you know, throughout its whole life before we hit pan. So I was using this, I was using my finger to apply this, and then it started getting hard pan. And the past 2 times when it's had hard pan, I said, like, it doesn't really affect it, like, no big deal. Well, then it started to affect it, and I was noticing, like, I would, you know, go in with my finger, put it on my eyes, and it would be like a very sheer yellow. And you can see here, like, it's really like nice and vibrantly yellow, which is what it had been doing. So I scraped off the hard pan, and I tried to like save as many of the bits as I could and use those with as like, bleh, what am I trying to tell you? I scraped off the hard pan, saved the bits, and used like a brush to pick them up and put that on my eyes. So like I didn't really waste any product. But then, so as soon as I like got rid of that layer of hard pan, I started using a brush with this shade, just because I don't really, like, I don't want to have to keep fooling with it. And I'm sure it's getting that like weird hard pan because, you know, like I wash my hands before I do my makeup, but there's still going to be like oils and stuff on your skin. So, but yeah, I am sad to see this shade go because I was really enjoying it so much, but I'm also happy to add another pan into my collection. So fun time. Let's just do the pretty random map. So now if this is your first time watching, how I do it is I don't, like, I know a lot of people, they completely randomize the shade that they're getting. I don't. I randomize the palette and then I pick the shade because it just, that to me is more successful. Like, I'm gonna have more fun and enjoy it more, and I can actually make like a more cohesive color story and make sure that it's something that works with my pan, that palette, yada yada yada. So the numbers are 1 through 24, and now I took out all of the palettes that are in the Project 10 uses because I don't know if those are still going to exist in my collection. Like, obviously have to use them 10 times and then I'll make that decision. So if it is something that I decide to keep, then I will add it to the list. But as of right now, like, none of those are included. So 1 through 24, sorry, there's like a glare. But we get number 15, and I can pull it up here and tell you, so this is a new to me palette that I have yet. I've played around with it a few times, but it's the ColourPop Nude Mood palette. So let me go grab that, and then I will pop back on here and show you what shade I picked from it. So here's what this palette looks like. It is so pretty. I know you guys are like, how many neutral palettes do you need? I don't even know how many I need, but I love this one. So I don't know what to pick though, because it's like every shade in here is almost like a safe shade. Like, nothing is too terribly out of the box. Okay, so what did we pick? What did we pick? Okay, y'all are probably gonna think I'm a little bit crazy. So in this palette, there is a Super Shock Shadow, which I don't really like that ColourPop has been doing that, because even though this has like that really like nice hard magnetic closure, like, no, you just can't have a Super Shock Shadow in this like packaging. So I had the Sweet Talk palette, which also had a Super Shock Shadow in it, and that dried out on me before I got the use on it that I really wanted. So I am actually going to pull in 2 shades, so that's gonna up our number to 5 shades that we're working on. And I don't think I'm always gonna have 5 shades. I really liked having 4. However, I was very torn on what to pick in this, and I feel like just picking the Super Shock Shadow is almost like a little too easy. So we are going to pick the Super Shock Shadow, which is Wink Wink, and it is right here. Very pretty. But then we're also going to pick the shade under it, which is like a bronzy shimmer, and it's called Put on Airs, or Put on Hairs. How? Is the H silent? I don't even know. Anyway, it's those two shades. We're going to work on both of those. So here is from the Sweet Talk palette, both of these shades, the In Case You Missed It and Sweet Melody. Or not Sweet Melody, it's just Melody. And then here's the Pat McGrath shade Listen. Here is that shade from Nude Mood, Put on Airs. And then here's the Super Shock Shadow Wink Wink. So I had to build up this Super Shock Shadow quite a bit. I think it was like a good 3 swipes. So I foresee that like if it's a shade that I want to wear like on its own, I'm going to have to build it up, which will obviously mean that we hit pan on it quicker. You see, like it would be almost like a gimme. But if I think that it would work nicely as like a topper as well. So that's kind of my thought process. That's why I'm rolling in 2, is because I do think that the Put on Airs will go really nicely with some of these shades to do like some interesting kind of like bronzy looks. It'll also go really nicely with my Pan That palette. And then I just want to make sure that I get the use out of this Super Shock shadow and like get to enjoy it and, you know, show it love before it ends up drying out, because the one in my Sweet Talk palette, I really want to say it dried out like in like 3 or 4 months. So there's that. If you were like on the fence, I really like this palette the few times I've like played with it, but if like that is something that has stopped you from purchasing any of the palettes that do have a Super Shock shadow in them, like 3 to 4 months, if you are gonna like go hardcore ham on it and get all the use out of it that you can, then sure, purchase the palette. If you're not, then that's a shade that's probably gonna dry out, which isn't the end of the world. You can rehydrate it. People have had success with it, so it's not the end of the world, but just putting that out there. Is that all I want to talk about? I feel like we left something out of this video. Oh, I guess I could say like any looks that I was doing, right? So like I was really going ham this month with Melody. I really enjoyed pairing it with the In Case You Missed It shade, but I also liked pairing it with Copper and Smoky Topaz from my Lorac Mega Pro palette. And then, like I said, Listen, haven't really used that much. I'm still like, ugh, about it. But I know, like, in the last video, I think Laura and Kaylee both left, like, comments like, hey, here's a look idea for you. And I gotta go look those up and then do those looks. I keep forgetting. Because, like, when I'm doing my makeup, I'm just kind of like in autopilot mode, like, you know? So, yeah. And then we have the 2 new shades. But, yeah. Sorry if it's rambly, but you know, that's just what you're getting out of these videos. So before we just keep on and this ends up being a 30-minute video, I'm just gonna end it. But yeah, one last look at our new color palette with the 5 shades now, and yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.